Hello, tonight you find yourself standing at the edge of a quiet valley, where the air carries the scent of damp earth and freshly sprouting grass. The sun has begun its slow descent, casting golden light across the rolling hills, and somewhere a gentle stream murmurs like a soft lullaby. It is a place where time itself seems to pause, as if the land remembers a rhythm older than human memory. You probably won't make it dot, so before you get completely comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe to the channel, but only if you truly enjoy what we're creating here. Perhaps you glance around and notice a few smoke curls rising from distant chimneys, a whisper of lives continuing unnoticed. You might consider leaving a comment below, sharing your current location and the time it is where you are now. Slowly dim the lights. Perhaps turn on a fan, letting the steady hum of the air fill the room. And in that gentle rhythm, we quietly step into tonight's journey together. You begin to notice the river that threads through the valley, a mirror reflecting the soft amber of the evening sky. Its water glides past stones polished smooth by centuries of flow, and here and there a fish darts, disturbing the surface in brief, glimmering ripples. The distant hills rise gently, cloaked in green that shifts subtly with the shadows of clouds drifting lazily above. Every leaf seems to shimmer, each movement deliberate, as though the trees themselves breathe slowly alongside you. In the heart of the valley, small clusters of homes nestle into the landscape, their thatched roofs blending gently with the hills. Smoke curls lazily from chimneys, carrying scents of baked bread and evening fires. Children laugh softly, chasing each other, while goats nibble tall grass and oxen graze quietly, all moving with the valley's slow, unhurried rhythm. The air feels alive yet tranquil, filled with the hum of insects hidden among flowers and the distant calls of birds returning to their nests. Occasionally, a soft clatter of pottery punctuates the valley's steady rhythm. It is a quiet melody of ordinary life, comforting in its subtlety, with even the wind whispering gently through leaves like a tender sigh. You wander further, noticing the rich texture of soil beneath your feet, dark and full of promise. Kneeling, your fingers brush scattered stones as a nearby stream trickles over mossy rocks, reflecting the waning light. Every detail speaks of quiet continuity, a delicate balance maintained for generations, where nature, human life, and gentle rhythms coexist harmoniously, unhurried and enduring. The current rulers of this valley are neither distant nor tyrannical, simply present, maintaining a measured rhythm of governance. Their influence spreads gently across fertile plains and low hills, shaping life without intrusion. You might pass a village and watch elders deliberate patiently, their discussions almost ceremonial. Their decisions ripple subtly through daily routines, like the quiet curve of a riverbank over time. As you walk further, natural sounds blend with human activity. Chickens cluck near doorways, while a mill wheel turns lazily, grinding grain with soothing regularity. The laughter of women weaving baskets drifts across fields, merging seamlessly with rustling leaves and flowing water. Every sound contributes to a gentle current of life, holding villagers in harmony and reinforcing the valley's unhurried, calm rhythm. Evening deepens slowly, shadows stretching across the valley and merging with soft twilight hues. The air cools gently, sunlight replaced by a whispering night breeze. Insects begin their delicate chorus, counterpointing the river's soft murmur. Somewhere, a dog yawns lazily before curling near a warm hearth, perfectly embodying the pervasive calm and the sense that all here flows without rush or strain. Plants thrive quietly in this serene landscape. Tall grasses sway with the wind, clusters of wildflowers nod sleepily in fading light, and ancient trees hold centuries of stories within their bark. Children finish their games, returning home as laughter softens. Dinner aromas mingle with misty river air, and each household follows its own rhythm, forming together a quiet, enduring symphony of life. The hills in the distance now take on a soft bluish hue, softened by the fading light. Stars prick the sky like tiny lanterns, while the last traces of the sun linger gently on the horizon. You feel your breath slow, matching the rhythm of the land, as if the valley itself exhales alongside you in patient calm. You pause again by the riverbank, tracing the water's winding path. The first stars reflect on its surface, creating twin skies above and below. A lone frog croaks in the reeds, punctuating the evening's melody with gentle insistence. Every movement, water, insect, or star, contributes to a calm current, drawing your attention to the quiet, enduring rhythm of life. Somewhere nearby, a villager closes a door softly, the sound blending seamlessly into the valley's backdrop. Though everything seems untouched, you sense life quietly unfolding, human stories moving gently like the river itself. You smile at the thought, imagining yourself lingering here indefinitely, listening to the slow, patient rhythm that the land has maintained for generations. Night deepens as fireflies begin their dance above the river, flickering like tiny whispers. Your eyelids grow heavy, yet your mind remains alert enough to notice rustling leaves, distant dog barks, and the river's gentle ripple. These small, persistent movements weave together a serene tapestry, drawing you deeper into the valley's quiet embrace, where time seems to slow and breathe along with you. The horizon darkens completely, leaving only the moon and stars to guide your vision. You take a deep, calming breath, filling your lungs with cool night air. Every element, from the wind's whisper to the firefly's glow, blends into a sensation of quiet eternity. The valley feels alive yet tranquil, each detail contributing to a slow, harmonious rhythm. You might chuckle quietly, imagining ancient villagers gazing at the same stars, pondering the same mysteries. Perhaps one wondered if their stories would last as long as the hills themselves. Settling by the stream, the flowing water becomes a gentle lullaby. All sounds blend into a single soothing cadence, and you feel ready to drift gently along with this quiet rhythm into what comes next. You stroll through the heart of the valley, feeling the gentle slope of the land beneath your feet. Small stone bridges arch over quiet streams, their surfaces cool to the touch. The air is tinged with the scent of baked bread and damp earth, blending into a calm that seems to settle inside your chest, reminding you that life here flows slowly, without rush. As you approach a cluster of homes near the central square, you notice the subtle signs of local governance. A small flag flutters from a pole outside the elder's house, the symbol of authority familiar to all. Children play near the steps, occasionally glancing at the adults with curiosity, but mostly absorbed in their own gentle laughter. You might smile, thinking that even a council of elders could benefit from a few playground negotiations. The ruler of this valley, though unseen at the moment, maintains a quiet presence. Laws are respected because they have grown naturally with the community. You observe the way villagers share tasks and responsibilities, dividing their labor with careful rhythm. There is no need for loud decrees. The authority is subtle, like the gentle pull of the river guiding the water along its path. You wander closer to the town square, noting the layout of the settlement. Small stalls display vegetables, grains, and handmade goods. Merchants greet one another softly, using gestures as much as words. You begin to notice that this exchange of goods is both economic and social, a delicate network that maintains harmony without imposing rigidity. Every building tells a story of balance. Roofs are sloped to catch rain, walls thick to hold warmth, doors wide enough to welcome visitors, but secure enough to guard what matters. The architecture is practical, functional, yet it carries a quiet aesthetic that mirrors the calm order of daily life. Even the cat lounging on the sunlit stone steps seems to understand the rhythm of this place, You notice the structure of leadership more clearly as you pass the Hall of Elders. Decisions are made slowly, discussed in soft tones that echo across the walls. It is a process of patience and observation, a system designed to preserve stability rather than enforce sudden change. The elders nod in agreement, occasionally pausing to sip tea or adjust their robes. Small human touches amidst the rhythm of governance. The military presence is subtle, more ceremonial than forceful. A few guards patrol leisurely, their armor catching the fading light but never clanging harshly. Their role is reassurance rather than enforcement, a quiet reminder of safety. You might chuckle, imagining them practicing fencing moves with sticks just to pass the time, blending duty with a touch of playful amusement. Trade routes stretch gently beyond the valley, linking neighboring settlements with quiet harmony. Wagons roll over dirt roads, horses clopping steadily, and merchants exchange soft greetings across distances. The occasional bell announces the arrival of goods. This subtle rhythm of commerce threads the valley into a broader network, orderly and unobtrusive, a gentle pulse of human connection that flows alongside nature's own cadence. Some weaknesses ripple quietly in this otherwise calm order, like gentle eddies in a stream. Communication to distant hills is slow, messages arriving at the pace of a walking courier rather than a galloping rider. Decisions needing swiftness trickle in slightly. Delayed, yet the flaw feels almost poetic. Even orchard work mirrors this patience, with villagers picking fruit carefully, talking softly, and moving in gentle sync with the valley's rhythm. In the evening, you wander back toward the stream that winds through the center of the valley. Families gather to wash dishes and socialize in soft murmurs. You notice how the layout of homes and common spaces encourage interaction, yet allows privacy, a balance struck through years of quiet observation. You might grin at a dog lazily chasing its tail, unaware it mirrors the villager's own slow, joyful play. The hills beyond the valley hint at the wider world, though you feel no urgency to reach them. The calm governance here allows life, to proceed in measured harmony, each household contributing to a sense of continuity. You sense that the valley has existed this way for generations, a rhythm refined like the slow polishing of stone, not imposed abruptly, but naturally evolved. Evening deepens, and lanterns glow softly in the homes. Their warm light spills onto cobblestone paths, casting long shadows that stretch gently across the square. The air carries a hint of evening dew, mingling with the faint aroma of wood smoke. Every detail speaks to a carefully maintained peace, a life ordered without force. You begin to notice the interactions with neighboring valleys. Traders arrive quietly, their wagons laden with grains, woven cloth, or simple tools. Exchanges are friendly, even playful at times, as villagers demonstrate techniques or share local gossip. You realize that alliances are maintained through these gentle gestures, a diplomacy conducted in small smiles and nods rather than proclamations or armies. Night settles slowly, the sky deepening to indigo as stars begin to twinkle like distant sparks. You hear crickets chirping softly and fish splashing occasionally in the river. Even a lantern flickers gently in the breeze, its tiny hiccup blending into the valley's rhythm. The soundscape wraps the valley in a cocoon of tranquility, reassuring and steady, inviting quiet reflection. Walking along the path bordering farmlands, you notice the balance between labor and rest. Oxen return slowly from the fields. Children carry bundles of herbs, and adults whisper quietly while tending chores. Every motion, every sound, contributes to a living pattern that is simple yet profound, reflecting a governance that sustains life gently, without urgency or disruption. Blending work, nature, and human rhythm seamlessly. As the moon rises above distant hills, the valley basks in a soft silver veil. You breathe slowly, feeling calm settle within you, matching the valley's persistent rhythm. There is enduring order here, subtle and firm, a reminder that stability does not demand loudness or force. Every element, from river ripples to rustling leaves, joins this gentle cadence of life. The night hums softly, carrying promises of tomorrow. You imagine elders gathering once more, their discussions gentle, yet purposeful, guiding the valley through each day. Harmony seems tangible, connecting past, present, and the slow passage of time. The valley exhales, steady and unhurried. You linger, savoring tranquility, knowing tomorrow will follow the same gentle flow, softly guiding you toward whatever comes next. You walk along a gentle ridge, overlooking the valley, noticing the distant hills beyond. Their slopes are dotted with herds of animals moving lazily, their presence barely audible, yet subtly changing the rhythm of the landscape. The wind carries faint dust and scents from faraway fields, whispering that life exists beyond these familiar boundaries. As you watch, small caravans move slowly along dirt paths winding through the hills. Merchants, shepherds, and travelers blend into the scenery like brushstrokes in a painting. Their movement is steady, almost meditative, each footfall in tune with the earth beneath. You might imagine a goat pausing mid-step, sniffing at the dust and thinking it owns the world. The neighboring territories are quietly thriving, their populations gradually increasing. Families guide flocks along seasonal pastures, tents dotting the landscape like stars scattered across a dark cloth. The rhythm of their life is similar to yours, but subtly faster, driven by larger herds and denser communities. You sense an energy that flows outward, touching the edges of your valley in the softest of waves. Streams from the distant highlands carry water into your valley, bringing with it sediments, seeds, and stories of life elsewhere. You notice tiny ripples on the river's surface, reflecting the sky like fragments of glass. Each droplet seems to carry the gentle pulse of lands beyond, hinting at change that arrives slowly, almost imperceptibly, like a whisper of a secret. You wander closer to a small hilltop, where you observe the pattern of movement. Travelers pause to rest, offering gifts of grain or dried meat to the locals in exchange for news or guidance. Their gestures are courteous, unassuming, and repeated with a rhythm that seems to stretch across generations. Occasionally, a child waves, and the visitors wave back, sharing a fleeting, universal understanding. The air is tinged with the subtle scent of smoke from distant fires. You inhale deeply, noticing how the aroma mixes with your valley's earthy smell. It reminds you that even unseen neighbors exert influence through simple presence. The hills hum softly with activity, and you begin to feel that this quiet expansion is natural, neither aggressive nor alarming, simply a part of life's continuous flow. In the valley, life carries on, almost unaware of these distant movements. Yet traders arriving from afar bring small innovations. A new weaving technique, a type of grain previously unknown, or a subtle shift in the songs sung during evening gatherings. You smile, imagining the villagers discussing such novelties over tea, some laughing at how complicated distant customs can be. You note that the population beyond the valley grows steadily. Their settlements ripple outward like gentle waves, pressing softly against the edges of your own familiar hills. It is a pressure that does not shout, but it exists. You might picture the hills as soft pillows, receiving gentle nudges that accumulate over time, shaping the contours of life within the valley. The wind from those far regions carries more than scents. It carries ideas. You sense the rhythm of distant festivals, faint music blending with the murmur of livestock, and whispers of storytelling exchanged between travelers and locals. Everything arrives slowly, unnoticed by most, yet shaping the cultural and social pulse of your valley. Occasionally, a caravan halts near the valley border. You watch as people dismount to rest, exchanging quiet words with villagers, sharing small gifts or knowledge. It is an interaction soft and deliberate, a ripple of influence extending from one community to another. You imagine that even the smallest of exchanges could echo for decades, like a pebble dropped into a still pond dot. As the day moves toward evening, shadows stretch longer across the hills. You notice how movement becomes calmer, flocks gathering, travelers pausing, and villagers observing these subtle rhythms. The valley's own pulse slows in response, adapting effortlessly to this quiet influence. Even the river seems to carry the faint hum of distant lands within its flow. You wander down to the stream, noticing leaves drifting slowly on the water. Each leaf could have originated upstream, having traveled through distant valleys, connecting your land to places you have never seen. It is a gentle reminder that the world beyond is alive, quietly shaping the contours of life here without urgency or force. The hills beyond whisper with the sound of grazing animals and faraway conversations. Their voices mingle with the breeze that passes through the valley, carrying news of changing seasons, of herds growing, of families moving. It is a subtle chorus, distant yet perceptible, reminding you that the valley exists as part of a larger rhythm, not in the quiet. You detect the tiny tremors of social interaction. Villagers ask travelers about customs, seeds, or animals. Advice is given, laughter shared, and small arrangements are made. These connections are soft but steady, threading through the valley's fabric, creating a network of influence that feels as natural as the flow of water. You observe that no single event dominates this pressure. It is the accumulation of small moments. A new grain, a shared tale, a wandering musician. Each leaves a faint trace, weaving into the valley's life gradually. It is like watching clouds drift, their shapes constantly changing, yet the sky remains calm and open. Evening deepens into twilight. The valley breathes quietly, the distant hills fading into gentle silhouettes. Stars begin to sprinkle across the sky, faint yet comforting, like the scattered touch of distant neighbors on your familiar land. You feel a sense of calm anticipation, as if the subtle pressure beyond is part of life's natural ebb and flow. Finally, as night settles fully, the soft sounds of distant life blend with the crickets and river in your valley. You lie back against the gentle slope of the hill, noticing how the world is connected in ways unseen but deeply felt. Every breath, every rustle of leaves, every ripple of water carries a story of gentle, continuous influence. And in this calm, you feel ready for the next step in the valley's story. The presence of external life is real, yet unobtrusive, a soft reminder that nothing remains entirely static, and that the gentle push and pull of the world will continue, shaping life in ways both subtle and profound. You stroll along the outer edges of the valley, letting your gaze wander across the wide plains. Streams meander lazily, reflecting the pastel hues of the morning sky. The soil feels firm beneath your feet, promising growth and sustenance. You notice how the land naturally invites movement, a quiet openness that seems to welcome travelers and wanderers alike. The river curves gently, forming shallow pools where fish shimmer in the sunlight. You watch a heron take a slow, deliberate step, its shadow stretching across the water like a soft pencil stroke. The patterns of the river hint at passageways long used, invisible highways carved by time and nature, offering passage through the valley with minimal resistance. You notice small stone markers dotting the paths, remnants of previous generations, marking boundaries, trade routes, and safe crossings. They feel like silent storytellers, keeping the memory of human movement alive. Perhaps one day, you imagine, someone will stumble upon these stones and ponder their origin, just as you do now, quietly smiling at the thought. Fertile fields stretch before you, gold and green weaving together in a patchwork quilt of crops. The soil promises nourishment, its richness inviting care and cultivation. You notice the gentle hum of insects over the plants, a delicate reminder that productivity is not forced, but arises naturally when the land is respected. Even the occasional worm pushing through the soil seems to play a role in this gentle ecosystem. You follow a worn path that winds toward a low hill. From here, the valley appears as a tapestry of life. Scattered homes, grazing animals, and small clusters of trees dotting the landscape. You sense the strategic subtlety of the land, flat enough for easy travel, yet with natural observation points for anyone moving through it, offering oversight without aggression. Trade has always followed these curves. You imagine caravans passing quietly along the natural corridors, exchanging grains, tools, and stories. The paths are easy to navigate, and the river offers both sustenance and transportation. You might chuckle at the thought of a donkey refusing to move until its driver offers a small snack. An age-old negotiation observed across generations. Forests hug the edges of the valley, their trees tall but not dense enough to obstruct vision entirely. Their wood offers resources, yet the openness prevents them from dominating the landscape. You sense that this balance is part of the reason travelers, shepherds, and traders find the valley favorable. The land is generous without demanding conflict. In return, mineral deposits, small but consistent, peek through the hillsides. Copper nodules glint faintly in the sun, easily overlooked by those not attentive. These subtle gifts from the earth add to the valley's quiet appeal, providing resources for tools, small crafts, and barter. You imagine a villager finding a shiny stone and holding it up like a tiny treasure, smiling to themselves. Paths across. The low mountains are gentle, unobstructed, and intuitive. You follow one slowly, noticing how the terrain naturally guides movement. The hills are inviting rather than forbidding, creating natural corridors that link communities without forcing confrontation. Even the wind seems to move this way, gently brushing against your cheeks as if nudging you forward. The valley's position is ideal for communication with neighboring regions. You imagine distant settlements seeing smoke rising from chimneys, the soft curl of trade signals and smoke as messages carried without urgency. This ease of access makes connections subtle yet continuous, weaving a network of interactions over time. Agricultural potential is abundant. You notice small terraces carved into gentle slopes, their careful design preserving soil and moisture. Villagers plant with patience, knowing the land will respond in its own time. The rhythm of sowing and harvesting mirrors the natural cycles of water and sun, blending human activity seamlessly with environmental patterns. Even the climate is mild, a factor that contributes to the land's quiet appeal. Rain falls gently in cycles, sun warming the fields without scorching, and winds cooling the higher slopes. You might imagine villagers commenting wryly on a sudden sunbeam, saying, "Well, the weather's making up its mind again," smiling. At nature's gentle unpredictability, small streams crisscross the valley, feeding the larger river. Each tributary is a lifeline, a connector that ensures fertile land and drinking water for people and animals alike. You follow one for a while, noticing leaves drifting lazily and small fish darting beneath the surface, their movement blending seamlessly with the valley's slow heartbeat. You begin to sense why this land has long drawn attention. Its fertile resources, gentle accessibility, and quiet natural beauty create a place both sustainable and inviting. It is never overwhelming or flashy, but understated, like a soft melody drifting from a distant piano, recognized only by those who pause and listen carefully. Letting the subtle harmonies sink slowly into their awareness. Villages here enjoy gentle trade with surrounding regions, exchanging products without tension. Roads are wide enough for wagons, narrow enough to preserve intimacy between neighbors. You might imagine a child racing a small goat down the path, laughter mingling with the hum of river water, illustrating life's subtle connections in the simplest of ways. You pause at a hilltop, the valley stretched beneath you like an open book. From this vantage point, the network of land, water, and paths reveals itself as a quiet masterpiece. Travelers, livestock, rivers, and forests coexist, each element supporting the others in a pattern that feels almost deliberate, yet arises naturally over generations. As evening drifts across the valley, shadows stretch and soften over fields and rolling hills. Life hums gently. Insects chirp in delicate rhythms. The river glides quietly over smooth stones, and villagers return from distant shores with measured steps. You sense the balance of this land, its subtle potential for influence and connection, and the quiet, enduring reasons it has long captured the attention of those who wander thoughtfully. Finally, you stand still, letting your gaze linger on the valley's gentle contours. The sky glows with pastel light, fading slowly into twilight. You feel the peacefulness of the land as it prepares for night, aware that its quiet value lies not in bold displays, but in the subtle rhythm that supports life and movement, readying the stage for the soft footsteps of influence that will soon arrive. You walk along a quiet path at the edge of the valley, noticing subtle changes in the daily rhythm. A caravan pauses near the stream, its wheels lightly pressing the earth. Travelers greet the villagers with polite nods and small gifts, a gesture that feels gentle yet deliberate. You might imagine a goat sniffing a package and deciding it deserves extra attention. Small alliances begin forming naturally. Some villages, curious and open, accept advice from visitors on cultivating crops or managing livestock. You watch as a few villagers exchange smiles and nods, signaling trust without urgency. The rhythm of integration is slow, almost like watching the petals of a flower unfold under the early sun. Merchants linger longer than usual, offering rare grains or simple tools in exchange for knowledge. You watch quietly as villagers absorb lessons on spinning thread, storing grain efficiently, or navigating hills safely. Each new insight is taken gently, leaving subtle marks on routines, blending innovation with tradition, never forcing abrupt change, but adding a delicate layer to the valley's calm, steady rhythm. A soft breeze carries distant sounds across the valley, children's laughter, horse hooves clopping slowly, and low murmurs from travelers passing by. The presence of outsiders threads seamlessly into the existing flow of life. You notice how subtle interactions echo like musical notes, blending gently into the familiar melody, adding small, unexpected richness to the valley's enduring quiet. An unhurried pattern. You smile quietly at the thought of someone likening this blend to a new flavor of tea, delicate and understated. Each lesson, each interaction, leaves a trace, soft yet perceptible, integrating into daily life without disruption. The valley's harmony continues, patient and steady, embracing gentle change, while maintaining the comforting cadence that has persisted for generations. Some villages begin to host small gatherings with these visitors. Tea is brewed, bread shared, and stories exchanged. You feel the atmosphere is warm and unhurried, with no sense of pressure. Even the elders participate, listening attentively, occasionally offering advice from their own experience. As if the valley itself were teaching patience through every interaction, paths are subtly marked for easier travel. Stones are rearranged, small bridges repaired, and narrow trails cleared. You walk these paths, feeling the quiet cooperation between locals and newcomers. It is not domination but gentle guidance, like water shaping soft soil over seasons rather than rushing through with force. Occasionally, small gifts appear at village centers, bundles of dried herbs, tiny clay pots, or polished stones. These gestures foster connection without obligation. You chuckle quietly, imagining a villager, pondering whether the shiny stone is treasure or a playful gift. The valley's rhythm remains unhurried, even playful, each offering a gentle note in the ongoing melody of life. Some households gradually experiment with new practices. A different irrigation method is tried, or a new grain grows beside familiar crops. Curiosity drives these changes, not compulsion, blending innovation with tradition naturally. Even the river seems to approve, murmuring past carefully tended fields. Every small adjustment becomes part of the valley's enduring, gentle harmony. Animals move within this rhythm unknowingly. Herds graze near shared pastures, following patterns learned from villagers and visitors. A shepherd whistles softly, guiding goats in smooth loops. You watch quietly, noticing how these tiny movements ripple across the valley, shaping the natural flow and subtle routines of life. Each gentle action adding to the serene order of the landscape. Evenings bring moments of quiet reflection. Villagers gather along the riverbank, watching lanterns' soft glow from distant travelers. Conversations drift lightly, like leaves carried on water, casual, informative, delicate. Integration occurs gradually, unnoticed by most, yet persistent. The subtle influence of new practices and visitors leaves its trace, soft as moonlight, illuminating fields, blending seamlessly into daily life. You sense the change here is gentle and deliberate. Every motion, from the smallest herb planted to the paths animals trace, contributes to a patient rhythm. Life flows steadily, weaving together curiosity, tradition, and subtle guidance. The valley thrives in quiet, unforced harmony, where observation and participation coexist, leaving behind a landscape shaped by care, continuity, and understated influence. A few villages show tentative curiosity in establishing trade with outside regions. Small stalls appear at crossroads, offering locally crafted goods alongside items brought by travelers. You walk past these stalls, noticing the muted hum of commerce, a rhythm that carries information, sustenance, and connection without ever raising its voice. Children mimic the adults, learning the new interactions playfully. You smile at a small boy handing a pebble to a traveler, thinking it a grand gesture, while the traveler bows in acknowledgement. These simple acts ripple outward, creating subtle social bridges that will strengthen over time. You wander past the hills where new markers appear, delineating shared grazing areas and gentle routes between settlements. Each marker is painted carefully, often with symbols understood only locally. You notice how these tiny adjustments guide movement without coercion, allowing natural rhythms to persist even as external influence spreads. Villagers begin adopting minor ceremonial practices shared by visitors. Particular greeting, a soft chant, or a pattern of arranging meals. You watch as elders observe with bemusement, sometimes imitating, sometimes laughing, gently threading these novelties into the existing tapestry of daily life. Even the livestock seems to sense subtle changes. You notice goats clustering in slightly different patterns, or oxen pausing at markers not previously observed. These small shifts, almost imperceptible, mirror the larger integration taking place. Quiet, deliberate, without conflict or alarm. Twilight arrives, painting the valley in deep shades of purple and gold. Lanterns flicker along paths, signaling activity winding down. You feel the presence of influence, soft yet persistent, blending with the natural pulse of the valley. The day ends gently, with no sharp edges, only the soft hum of life carrying. Forward. Finally, you stand atop a low hill, gazing across the fields and winding streams, noticing how the first gentle steps of integration have already left subtle marks. The valley's rhythm flows steadily, calm and unhurried, yet quietly enriched by the new presence. You sense that tomorrow will carry these delicate traces further, shaping life and routines in soft, inevitable ways, blending continuity and change into the valley's enduring, peaceful harmony. You wake to a soft morning haze drifting across the valley. Dew glistens on the grass like tiny scattered jewels, and a gentle mist curls along the river. Today feels like any other, yet there is a subtle shift in the rhythm, as if the valley itself is holding its breath in quiet acknowledgement. A small procession moves slowly along the central path, carrying a simple banner and a few official documents. Villagers pause, curious but calm, observing without alarm. No bells ring, no drums sound. The change is announced with the softest gestures, a quiet nod to continuity, like gently turning a familiar page, allowing life to flow steadily around. The unfolding moment. The old steward of the valley meets the newcomers at the main hall. Documents are exchanged carefully, words measured and polite, gestures respectful and deliberate. One steps aside, offering a seat to the other, signaling. That authority now passes into new hands. There is no rush, only a serene acknowledgement, a quiet ceremony of transition within the familiar rhythm of daily life. Children peek from windows and doorways, intrigued yet unafraid. One waves a small stick like a miniature scepter, pretending to command the procession, earning a soft, distant chuckle from a farmer nearby. You smile quietly, noticing their innocent mimicry. Even in play, they seem to sense the gentle gravity of the moment, blending joy with awareness of change around them. Shadows lengthen as the procession continues, the sun dipping slowly behind distant hills. Villagers return to daily tasks with calm acceptance, the ceremony absorbed into ordinary life. Authority has shifted, yet the valley's gentle cadence remains uninterrupted. Every small gesture, from quiet smiles to subtle movements, contributes to the ongoing flow of life, steady, patient, and enduring like the river winding through the fields. Villagers gather slowly in small clusters. Conversations are soft and deliberate, reflecting curiosity rather than concern. You hear questions whispered about new rules, schedules, and customs. Answers are given calmly, offering reassurance, and the rhythm of daily life continues alongside this quiet change, much like a river adjusting its course without upheaval. The new governor, a figure in muted attire, observes the valley with care. You notice their measured steps, the way they greet each villager with a nod or gentle bow. Authority arrives not as a wave crashing over the land, but as a light mist, spreading evenly and unobtrusively, touching every corner without force. You walk past the central square, noting subtle symbols of transition, a new seal on the hall, door, a rearranged table for records, and a soft flag fluttering in the morning breeze. Each small change signals a new order while honoring the old rhythms, like adding a note to an ongoing melody without altering its harmony. The morning sun filters through the trees, casting long, dappled shadows. You notice the movement of birds, gliding with ease above the valley. Even nature seems to acknowledge this quiet transformation, continuing its cycles in harmony with the soft steps of human affairs. Merchants resume their slow rounds, carrying wares along familiar paths. You sense that commerce will continue uninterrupted, the exchange of goods and knowledge unaffected by the subtle shift in leadership. The valley retains its calm pulse, like a heart adjusting seamlessly to a gentle change in rhythm. You pause by the river, watching fish dart beneath the surface and leaves drift lazily downstream. The documents signed today feel part of the valley's gentle flow, like small ripples on a calm current. Each gesture marks time quietly, significant yet unobtrusive, blending seamlessly into the ongoing rhythm of life, where movement and stillness coexist in soft harmony. Even the animals seem unconcerned. Goats graze near the edges of the square, and oxen pull carts along familiar paths with steady cadence. A horse flicks its tail at a passerby, indifferent to the subtle transfer of authority. Life continues unhurried, embracing new presence without resistance, each creature contributing to the valley's patient, enduring rhythm where every motion is gentle yet purposeful. Villagers maintain their daily routines with quiet diligence. They tend crops, collect water, and weave baskets, their motions calm and measured. An elder greets the new governor with a soft, approving smile, acknowledging both the past and future. Authority passes gently, seamlessly woven into the valley's ongoing rhythm, preserving continuity while allowing subtle shifts in the flow of life. The sun climbs higher, warming the valley gently. Shadows shift, illuminating new details. Flags soft flutter, a newly inked ledger, a child's curious glance. You sense that the power shift, though significant, arrives as part of the valley's natural cadence, acknowledged yet unobtrusive. You wander to the hilltop, watching the procession slowly disperse. The valley stretches before you, serene and uninterrupted. You imagine future mornings, each quietly influenced by today's gestures, blending old habits with new guidance, shaping life with patient continuity rather than abrupt force. So soft breeze stirs the leaves, carrying the scent of baked bread and damp earth. You hear laughter from children playing nearby, and the gentle chatter of villagers discussing mundane matters. The rhythm of life persists, embracing change gently, as if the valley itself were teaching the lesson of slow adaptation. As evening approaches, light softens across the fields and rolling hills. Shadows stretch and mingle, blending the old and the new in a quiet, gentle tableau. You feel the continuity of authority, the unhurried transition, and the patient rhythm of life, which accommodates subtle changes without interruption, moving steadily like a river, shaping the valley over time. You settle by the riverbank, watching the sun dip behind distant hills. The valley exhales softly, serene and undisturbed, as life continues without rush. Authority has shifted, yet every movement remains measured and calm. The landscape radiates gentle certainty, reminding you that time flows steadily, carrying all living things in harmony with its enduring, patient rhythm. The water reflects the softening sky, catching hints of gold and violet along its surface. Birds return to hidden nests, their quiet calls blending with rustling leaves and the distant murmur of oxen on paths. You inhale the cool evening air, feeling the calm settle within you, a tender echo of the valley's slow, unbroken, and reassuring cadence. You stroll through the valley in the soft morning light, noticing villagers going about their routines with subtle curiosity. Some pause at doorways, observing the new governor passing by, while others continue tending their gardens as if nothing has changed. You might quietly chuckle at a goat trying to join a farmer in the field, insisting on its own agenda. Families gather at communal spaces, exchanging glances and murmurs about new customs and rules. You notice a gentle sense of evaluation in their expressions, neither anxious nor hurried. Life here adapts slowly, like water filling a shallow basin, flowing around obstacles and adjusting naturally to new patterns. Children continue to play in open fields, occasionally mimicking the new gestures they've observed, laughing at the novelty. You watch one little girl bow awkwardly toward a visiting merchant, earning a warm smile. Even these small acts reflect how humans absorb subtle changes without urgency, integrating them into everyday life. Some villagers decide to explore small shifts in routines. You notice a few visiting new market stalls, testing unfamiliar tools or grains. Their curiosity is calm, measured, and playful, as if experimenting with a new flavor of tea, savoring each step rather than rushing to judgment. A few families quietly consider relocation to neighboring valleys, speaking in hushed tones as they plan. Carts are packed slowly, animals guided with gentle patience. Even departure feels unhurried, as though the valley itself whispers that there is no need for haste. Every choice unfolds in its natural time, blending with the soft rhythm of daily Life. Others embrace subtle changes more directly, experimenting with new irrigation techniques and adjusting small markets. Shared resources are organized gently, under careful guidance, with minimal disruption. You notice the seamless blending of old habits and new practices, like clouds drifting across a familiar sky, shifting shadows softly while leaving the landscape. Fundamentally unchanged, calm and continuous. Local craftspeople explore materials brought by distant traders, their hands moving with deliberate care. You observe a potter blending clay differently, a weaver introducing gentle patterns inspired by travelers' stories. Even the smallest observers participate. A curious cat inspects the new designs with mock seriousness, adding a touch of humor to the quiet, patient transformation of daily work. The valley continues its gentle flow, with life adjusting naturally to the presence of novelty. Children play nearby, occasionally wandering past the workshops, laughing softly as they chase each other. Villagers notice the experiments with interest, but without urgency, absorbing small innovations like water soaking into soil, nurturing growth in subtle ways that preserve harmony and continuity throughout the valley. Elders quietly observe, offering advice when approached but rarely imposing opinions. Their presence reassures younger villagers, creating a stable backdrop to the subtle transformations. You notice the occasional wink or nod exchanged between neighbors, acknowledging that life continues steadily, embracing change in its own measured way. You wander to a small grove where villagers gather for evening rituals. Discussions are gentle, reflective, touching on minor adjustments in trade, planting, or celebration. You hear soft laughter as someone recounts a humorous misunderstanding between a newcomer and a local goat, a reminder that adaptation often brings unexpected joy. The river continues its steady hum, guiding water past fields and homes alike. Villagers stroll along its banks, some speaking quietly, others pausing to watch birds reflected on the surface. You feel the landscape itself teaching patience, showing how humans can adjust gradually, harmoniously, and thoughtfully, allowing change to weave into the gentle, enduring rhythm of life without forcing it. Markets operate with quiet curiosity, traders displaying wares alongside local crafts. Villagers handle each item with care, inspecting grains, textiles, and tools slowly, deliberately. You notice a child exchanging a shiny stone for a bundle of herbs, laughter bubbling softly. Even these small interactions blend seamlessly with the valley's rhythm, marking subtle enrichment from visitors, while preserving the calm flow of daily life. That evening invites gatherings around shared fires, where stories of past seasons unfold, alongside tales brought by travelers. Laughter punctuates reflective pauses, gentle and unhurried. You might smile at a villager, exaggerating a story of a goat stealing bread, the humor softening the delicate adaptation of new practices. Life continues here, patient, absorbing change, while remaining rooted in familiar patterns. The valleys. Subtle shifts ripple through daily routines, unnoticed yet persistent. Children play nearby, weaving between elders sharing news and visitors offering guidance. Traders' voices merge with soft wind rustling leaves, oxen plodding along paths, and the murmur of water over stones. Every small sound and gesture contributes to a quiet tapestry of life, patiently accommodating the gentle presence of novelty. Households adjust subtly. Meals incorporate new ingredients. Patterns of work shift lightly, and rituals blend traditions old and new. You observe these changes quietly, realizing that acceptance is gradual, like ink spreading slowly through paper, leaving soft, lasting marks. Animals mirror the subtle transformations. Cows and goats graze near new fields, following paths that shift imperceptibly. Birds return to familiar trees, yet occasionally perch near newly erected markers. You notice the interplay of life, old and new, adapting together in quiet harmony. Some villagers take evenings to teach children about minor procedural changes, blending instruction with play. You hear laughter, questions, and soft corrections. Even in instruction, there is no hurry, no pressure, only the gentle rhythm of learning and living. A soft encouragement to adjust gradually. As twilight falls, villagers gather for light. Conversation along the riverbank. Children chase shadows, elders watch patiently, and merchants organize goods for the next day. You feel the soft acceptance spreading, the valley breathing gently, a living testament to the subtle integration of new authority and old rhythms. The day closes with soft candlelight flickering in homes, casting warm glows that mingle with the cooling evening air. From a gentle hilltop, you watch the valley, windows scattered like stars across the landscape. Life has adapted quietly, each movement measured, each sound blending seamlessly with the enduring rhythm of the land. Laughter drifts softly from yards and streets, mingling with the murmur of water and the rustle of leaves. Daily routines continue with calm persistence, unhurried and steady. The people, much like the rolling hills and flowing rivers, move in harmony with one another, ready to embrace the gentle rhythms of tomorrow while honoring the quiet continuity of today. You wander through the valley in the soft morning light, noticing subtle changes in how daily life is organized. Officials move quietly along familiar paths, their steps measured and unobtrusive. You might smile at the sight of a clerk tripping lightly over a stone, straightening with a sheepish grin, blending human imperfection into the gentle rhythm of governance. New record books appear in small offices, their pages neatly lined and annotated. You observe villagers curiously glancing at these documents, understanding them slowly over time. The paperwork flows gently, like water across a broad riverbed, guiding without overwhelming, ensuring order without urgency. A soft bell rings periodically from the town hall, signaling minor routines rather than alarm. Villagers glance briefly, then return to their tasks unbothered. Governance here feels more like a pattern than a presence, woven seamlessly into daily life. It is as familiar and comforting as a tune softly hummed, blending naturally with the rhythm of the valley. Officials gather in small rooms to discuss allocation of resources. Conversations about irrigation, trade permits, and seasonal planning unfold politely and deliberately. In the corner, a young scribe doodles a tiny cat chasing a mouse in the ledger, a subtle human touch that lightens the atmosphere. Even administration carries a gentle, almost playful cadence within the structured environment. Markets continue their unhurried rhythm, traders following gentle guidelines as taxes are collected unobtrusively. Local crafts flourish alongside daily commerce, creating a scene of quiet productivity. You notice a merchant displaying colorful cloth, while a child offers painted stones nearby. Both interactions unfold naturally, illustrating how authority integrates smoothly without disturbing the valley's calm flow. The overall effect is one of serene continuity. Villagers move with gentle purpose, balancing work and community effortlessly. Conversations, laughter, and the soft murmur of water from nearby streams weave together, highlighting harmony between governance and daily life. Even small, unnoticed gestures contribute to the enduring, unhurried cadence of the valley, steady and reassuring. Paths are maintained and marked with simple signs. You notice villagers walking more confidently, following subtle instructions for travel and trade. Even in these small changes, there is no rush. Each step is measured, allowing everyone to adapt naturally. You chuckle softly at a goat, testing the new markers as though approving them. Officials visit villages occasionally, offering guidance in quiet, calm consultations. You notice their gestures respectful, their voices low and steady. Villagers respond with gentle attentiveness, adopting recommendations slowly. Authority here is not a weight pressing down, but a soft hand guiding without force. Like a gentle stream nudging pebbles into place. Evening brings small gatherings where villagers discuss new laws and policies. You notice laughter punctuating, questions and clarifications, reflecting a culture of patient understanding. Rules are introduced without urgency, and daily life continues with minimal disruption. Like a river adjusting its flow around stones rather than breaking over them, you follow a new system of resource distribution, observing grain, water, and tools being allocated carefully. Everyone seems aware, attentive, and patient. You might smile as a child mimics a serious official, offering a spoon to a goat in mock ceremony. Blending humor and routine into the slow rhythm of adaptation, record-keeping extends to minor aspects of life. Market transactions, festival arrangements, and seasonal planting. You notice villagers engaging with these processes casually, often with a mix of curiosity and amusement. The new order feels like a soft background music, setting a tempo that everyone slowly internalizes. You wander past the river, noticing small ferries gliding along gentle schedules. Villagers interact with ferry operators politely and calmly, their movements unhurried. Even the smallest rules are observed with subtle care, demonstrating how governance supports life rather than imposing itself. The rhythm feels natural, like ripples spreading quietly across the water's surface. Along the banks, children walk to schools and learning spaces where subtle adjustments are unfolding. Lessons in reading, accounting, and practical skills proceed calmly, without pressure. You watch a young boy practice counting coins carefully while his cat lounges nearby, adding a playful touch. The scene is both amusing and heartwarming, reflecting the valley's gentle pace of life. Everywhere, small gestures reveal how learning and daily routines intertwine. Teachers offer guidance softly, students ask questions without hurry, and the presence of authority remains gentle and unobtrusive. Even the environment seems to cooperate, with sunlight drifting through classroom windows and birds singing nearby, creating a calm, harmonious backdrop for education and quiet discovery. Even the forests and fields show subtle shifts. Paths are kept clear, grazing is lightly managed, and crops follow gentle rotation. You notice farmers moving with ease, integrating new guidance alongside long-held traditions. Each action flows calmly, a quiet balance between learned habit and softly introduced authority. The rhythm of daily work continues unhurried, purposeful, and steady. Tasks are performed with care, whether tending fields, guiding livestock, or maintaining shared spaces. Authority and tradition intertwine naturally, creating a seamless pattern that supports life rather than dictating it. You sense harmony in these small adjustments, as if the land itself encouraged patience and thoughtful continuity. Officials coordinate festivals and communal events with care. You notice a subtle balance between tradition and new guidance, ensuring that celebrations feel familiar, yet slightly refreshed. Laughter and soft music fill the air, reminding you that governance here nurtures life rather than interrupts it. You walk along a quiet road, lined with small banners indicating resource points and meeting spaces. Villagers and animals move freely, following these gentle cues without pressure. You might chuckle as a goat casually ignores a sign, forging its own path with delightful independence. Evening settles slowly over the valley, casting long shadows across fields and hills. You watch lanterns flicker softly along paths, the gentle hum of life blending with the new order. Authority feels present, yet invisible, integrated seamlessly into the rhythm of human and natural activity. You pause atop a gentle hill, taking in the valley spread below, bathed in warm, soft light. Governance moves quietly here, calm and measured, guiding daily life with subtle care. The river glides steadily, animals graze without hurry, and villagers go about their routines with gentle purpose. You feel the serene balance, a quiet continuity and a reassuring sense of stability, ready to drift into tomorrow peacefully. You wander through the valley, noticing subtle marks left by time and adaptation. Paths are slightly wider, markets gently organized, and small markers indicate new shared spaces. Life continues, yet these small adjustments leave traces that hint at a slow but steady transformation, like rings forming in the trunk of an ancient tree. Maps have shifted subtly over time, revealing trails once hidden and linking distant villages. The landscape feels familiar, yet slightly transformed, like a cherished book with a few newly added pages. You might smile as a curious bird lands on a new signpost, inspecting it with cautious interest, as though it were an unexpected visitor. Joining this slow, harmonious rhythm, economic life flows gently with the changes. New trade routes bring exotic grains, tools, and textiles that mingle effortlessly with locally produced goods. Villagers examine each item with care, weaving new practices into their routines. Even in small markets, laughter and quiet conversation accompany these subtle exchanges, creating a soft hum of curiosity, adaptation, and playful experimentation throughout the valley. Farming techniques shift gradually, almost imperceptibly. Crop rotation, irrigation methods, and novel seeds are introduced in gentle steps. Children follow adults in the fields, learning through imitation, their small hands mimicking practiced movements. The land itself seems to adjust to these rhythms, merging tradition with innovation as effortlessly as two rivers converging, flowing together without haste. Steady and harmonious. Cultural life experiences subtle enrichment. Festivals incorporate new music, songs, or dances, blending old rhythms with fresh expressions. You notice a group of children experimenting with percussion using old pots, their laughter mingling with soft flutes played by visiting musicians. The valley resonates with calm, harmonious joy. Crafts and daily activities reflect gentle change. You notice weavers incorporating new patterns, potters experimenting with small adjustments, and villagers testing new cooking methods. Even humorous mistakes, like a lopsided basket, become part of the learning process, adding charm and warmth. To the evolving landscape, animals respond quietly to the subtle adaptations of human life. Cattle graze along the newly marked fields, moving with a steady, unhurried pace. Goats wander gentle slopes, sniffing at signs of change, while dogs patrol familiar paths with attentive awareness. You watch a curious goat inspect the small wooden marker, then settle beside it, seemingly content with the adjustments. Trade relationships unfold slowly over time, weaving together goods and knowledge. Villagers share not only food and tools, but also agricultural techniques, artistic methods, and local stories. You notice the soft delight when someone learns a new weaving skill while recounting an old tale. Laughter drifts gently across the valley, blending seamlessly with the quiet rhythm of daily life. Even small interactions carry a sense of harmony. Children imitate learned skills, while animals observe unobtrusively. Travelers exchange lessons from distant lands, and the valley absorbs each subtle change with patience. Every gesture, from the clink of a tool to the soft laugh of a storyteller, contributes to a slow, gentle evolution, enriching life without ever disturbing the calm. Rivers and irrigation channels reflect careful attention. You notice water flowing more evenly, reaching fields previously underserved. Farmers adjust slowly, embracing these benefits while maintaining old practices. You might quietly chuckle at a duck swimming confidently in the newly directed stream, as if it were approving these changes. Boundaries evolve with minimal friction. Hills once marked by informal markers now have gentle signs, while paths between villages are softened by natural observation. You sense the landscape itself collaborating in the process, shaping human activity through quiet guidance rather than strict enforcement. Social structures shift imperceptibly. Families interconnect more through trade, festivals, and small alliances. You observe neighbors sharing tasks, helping with harvests or exchanging recipes. The rhythm of community life deepens, creating a gentle sense of interdependence, woven naturally into daily routines. Education grows gradually. Children learn numeracy, reading, and practical skills from both elders and visiting instructors. You watch a small group practicing simple arithmetic using stones, laughing at mistakes, learning with patience. Knowledge spreads slowly yet steadily, shaping the valley's future quietly. Religious and ritual practices maintain continuity with subtle additions. You see villagers observing old rites, occasionally incorporating small gestures introduced by newcomers. You notice the soft laughter of a child, attempting a new chant incorrectly. A gentle reminder that tradition can coexist with change in a relaxed rhythm. Evening settles softly over the valley, and you stroll past homes illuminated by warm lantern light. Faint music drifts through open windows, mingling with gentle conversations. Villagers speak quietly of small adjustments in daily routines, trade, and upcoming celebrations. The atmosphere feels alive, yet calm, as the day's rhythm slows into a serene cadence. You notice how past and present weave together seamlessly. Traditions continue alongside subtle innovations, blending naturally like soft colors merging in a fading sunset. Children's laughter drifts faintly from distant yards, while the scent of evening meals mixes with the cool night air. Every detail seems deliberate yet gentle, reinforcing the valley's steady, unhurried harmony. You pause atop a gentle hill, taking in the valley stretched out before you. The patchwork of fields, winding rivers, scattered villages, and meandering paths forms a quiet harmony. Changes are present but unobtrusive, like delicate brushstrokes added to a slowly evolving painting. Every human and natural rhythm intertwines gently, subtle yet profound, creating a sense of continuity that soothes and reassures. The river flows calmly, reflecting the sky's warm tones. You hear birds returning to nests, animals grazing quietly, and villagers moving through the last tasks of the day. Life here has adapted in quiet, enduring ways, blending old habits with gentle innovation. Sustaining the rhythm of the valley. You settle gently on a soft grassy slope, watching the valley glow in the warm evening light. Long-term changes have blended seamlessly into daily life, subtly shaping routines, culture, and the economy. The scene feels alive, yet serene, inviting you to absorb the quiet harmony that flows through every corner of the valley. A calm understanding settles within you, a gentle satisfaction at observing life continue its measured rhythm. The passage of time feels tender, each change weaving softly into the enduring flow of history. You sense continuity, a quiet enrichment of the valley's story, as if every leaf, stone, and ripple of the river quietly honors the gentle persistence of life itself. You walk along the valley at dawn, noticing faint signs of change along the edges of fields and villages. Some paths are less frequented, grass growing slowly in gaps where trade once flowed. You might quietly chuckle at a goat, exploring these new routes as if scouting for secrets, unaware of the subtle tensions beginning to take shape along familiar trails. Small clusters of villagers gather, discussing minor adjustments in routines or trade. You sense an underlying curiosity and cautious awareness, a gentle acknowledgement that life is never entirely static. Even in calm, thoughts drift to the unknown. What might tomorrow bring, and how will these subtle shifts influence the valley's balance? Along distant hills, travelers appear, moving softly with their carts and livestock. Their presence is unhurried, yet their movement hints at subtle pressures beyond the valley's edges. Leaves flutter as they pass, stirred by the faint breeze. You imagine whispers carried in the wind, messages of change. Gently reaching the valley, shaping its quiet rhythms before any notice can be made. Some families consider expanding fields into slightly untamed areas. You notice them surveying slopes and marking boundaries with care, mindful of potential friction with neighboring settlements. These adjustments are slow, deliberate, and gentle, like the careful strokes of a painter, blending innovation with tradition without breaking the natural cadence of daily life. Merchants continue their gentle routines, yet new demands quietly emerge. You observe traders bringing unusual goods, negotiating patiently, adapting to unfamiliar requests. The village absorbs these pressures naturally, without panic. Each small adaptation ripples outward, influencing routines and expectations over time. You notice how curiosity and patience guide each interaction, ensuring that even subtle shifts integrate seamlessly with the valley's enduring flow. Villagers notice subtle differences in seasonal patterns. Conversations drift across courtyards, regarding rainfall, frost, or early blooms, and their impacts on crops or grazing. Nature's soft reminders keep the community attentive, yet unhurried. You sense the quiet intelligence in these reflections. As humans attune to the rhythms around them, learning to anticipate small changes without disrupting the gentle pulse of life. A few children wander near the edges of forests and hills, eyes bright with curiosity. You smile as a daring squirrel seizes a dropped nut, evading even the keenest gaze. These small observations mirror the subtle uncertainties of life, suggesting that even in tranquility, surprises emerge quietly. The innocence of play seems to echo the valley's ability to absorb shifts without tension. Local governance maintains order with calm deliberation, yet soft murmurs of resource allocation drift through the air. Villagers voice gentle concerns. Others adjust with patience, absorbing guidance without agitation. Authority here is present but unobtrusive, like a slow-moving river guiding its banks. You notice the quiet balance between oversight and independence, a rhythm allowing both people and land to coexist harmoniously. Trade routes subtly shift. Paths once clear are now less traveled, and new trails emerge along gentle slopes. A cart navigates a freshly trodden path with steady cadence, animals moving in calm attention. Even change seems deliberate, measured, teaching that adaptation and tension can coexist. You observe the valley's soft resilience, absorbing small currents of adjustment as if they were simply part of its natural song. Some elders notice new alliances forming across villages. Small packs emerge to share tools, knowledge, or resources. Hands clasped in quiet agreement, faces serious yet composed, signal the formation of subtle networks. These gentle connections hint at potential cooperation or mild friction, reminding you that human currents carry both opportunity and challenge, always threading quietly through the valley's slow-moving days. Occasionally, minor disagreements arise over grazing areas or water access. Villagers negotiate softly. Even in these moments, the valley absorbs tension without upheaval, teaching patience and gentle diplomacy. You notice how small conflicts dissolve into practical solutions, like reeds bending in the wind, leaving the larger rhythm of daily life undisturbed and serene, continuing with unhurried purpose. Along the horizon, clouds form and drift lazily over distant hills. They hint at subtle changes in weather, reminding you of nature's constant influence. Even as villagers adapt to one another, the environment nudges them gently, shaping decisions slowly over time. You sense the valley responding in quiet harmony, preparing for future possibilities, while maintaining the soft, steady cadence of life. Children experiment with new games along shifting boundaries, laughter drifting lightly across fields. They negotiate rules softly, resolving minor disputes as they arise. You notice their play mirrors the valley's flexibility, absorbing small changes without disrupting the broader rhythm. Their innocence reflects the gentle resilience embedded in this landscape, a quiet reminder that adaptation and continuity move side by side. Merchants record minor discrepancies in ledgers, adjusting accounts with patience. You see an amused clerk correcting a decimal while a cat paws playfully at the page, unaware of commerce, yet in perfect rhythm with its surroundings. Even small errors are accepted and absorbed without tension, a subtle reinforcement of the valley's enduring capacity to accommodate change with calm and grace. Villagers reflect quietly on seasonal shifts, observing changes in wildlife, crops, and rainfall. A soft vigilance underpins their routines, a readiness to respond calmly rather than react impulsively. Life continues in slow pulses, each action and observation preparing the community to absorb future currents of influence. You feel the valley's quiet resilience, a patient witness to the gradual unfolding of change. You wander to the riverbank at dusk, watching its steady flow. Shadows lengthen, birds settle into the reeds, and the valley exhales in soft harmony. Minor pressures linger, subtly new alliances, gentle adjustments, minor disputes, but all are absorbed into the natural rhythm. You sense that tomorrow will continue in this slow, deliberate cadence, shaping the valley gently over time. As twilight deepens, you pause to watch the valley glow under fading light. Winds whisper through tall grasses, water flows steadily along familiar channels, and distant hills melt into soft silhouettes. You feel the gentle presence of ongoing life, the quiet push of subtle tensions and adjustments. Each small seed planted today carries a promise of shaping the valley's future quietly and patiently. You stand quietly on a gentle hilltop, feeling the soft hum of the valley beneath you. The river winds lazily through fields, reflecting the pastel hues of dawn. Birds stretch their wings in slow arcs, and the scent of dew mingles with the earthy aroma of freshly tilled soil. You notice how life flows steadily, unaffected by sudden excitement, like a calm heartbeat. Paths that once bore footprints of traders and villagers alike now carry new tracks, slightly altered yet familiar. You walk along them slowly, imagining the countless footsteps that came before yours. Even the smallest pebble seems to tell a story, a quiet reminder that the valley's rhythms are ongoing and infinite. You notice the gentle sway of trees in the soft morning breeze. Leaves brush against one another, creating a soothing murmur. A squirrel leaps nimbly from branch to branch, performing a playful dance. Its lively movements are a light-hearted reminder that the natural world participates quietly in the valley's ongoing, gentle rhythm. Villagers begin their morning with calm, measured routines. Farmers guide oxen across misty fields, their movements deliberate and unhurried. Children explore near streams, carefully testing the water with small stones. Each person's action, however minor, contributes to the valley's slow rhythm. The blend of human activity and nature forms a soft, continuous symphony, harmonizing life without forcing or rushing any step. You watch as subtle patterns emerge in daily work. Birds flit across fields, and goats wander along familiar paths. Every gesture, from watering crops to placing stones in the stream, becomes part of the ongoing flow. Even seemingly insignificant actions create a sense of unity, weaving together the gentle pulse of life that defines the valley's serene morning. Markets slowly awaken. You notice merchants arranging wares, the soft rustle of cloth and baskets mingling with birdsong. Villagers greet one another in quiet tones, gestures deliberate but unhurried. Trade continues gently, weaving together the fabric of life with patience and grace. The river glides over stones smoothed by centuries, carrying reflections of sky and cloud. You imagine the countless seasons it has witnessed: rains, droughts, gentle springs, and warm autumns. You laugh softly at a duck paddling confidently upstream, seemingly unfazed by the flow, perfectly attuned to the river's enduring pulse. Hills rise around you, their gentle curves dotted with grazing animals. You notice how valleys and ridges guide the movement of both humans and wildlife, shaping life naturally over time. Each hill and hollow serves as a quiet instructor, teaching patience and observation to those willing to listen. Evening draws a soft curtain of color across the sky. Villagers gather for small conversations, laughter blending with the distant flow of the river. Children chase shadows while elders rest on benches, quietly observing. You feel a deep sense of continuity, knowing that the valley breathes steadily. Small streams feed into larger waters, their gentle trickle harmonizing with the hum of life. You wander alongside one, noticing how fish glide gracefully beneath the surface. Even they follow the rhythm of existence, moving with purpose, yet without urgency. A reflection of the valley's quiet, enduring balance. You pause in a flowering meadow, watching bees drift lazily over soft petals. Their hum is low and steady, blending with the quiet rustle of leaves. The subtle scent of blooms fills the air, grounding you. Even the tiniest insects seem aware of their part, contributing gently and consistently to the valley's endless cycle of life. Paths converge at gentle crossroads, where villagers meet travelers and neighbors alike. Each greeting is soft, courteous, and deliberate, a quiet acknowledgement of shared space and time. Footsteps mingle without hurry, forming an almost invisible rhythm. You sense that these small, daily interactions sustain the community, weaving human presence into the landscape with patient continuity and care. Every movement, no matter how small, adds to the valley's flow. Children skip along narrow trails, farmers guide livestock slowly, and a distant bell marks routine without alarm. Even the wind seems to participate, brushing over fields and cottages alike. Together, all these gentle elements maintain the soft, enduring pulse of life here. Even the wind carries stories across the valley. It brushes against rooftops, whispers through reeds, and bends grasses gently without breaking them. You laugh softly at the mischievous way it ruffles hair or lifts a cloak, a reminder that even nature plays lightly in this endless rhythm. Houses glow softly with morning light. Smoke curls lazily from chimneys, hinting at breakfasts prepared with care and patience. You imagine the aroma blending with fresh dew, creating a sensory memory that will linger long after you walk away, quietly etching into the valley's ongoing story. Fields shift subtly with each season. You notice grains bending under their own weight, flowers opening to greet the sun, and leaves turning slowly. Time moves gently here, like a hand guiding you to notice beauty in subtle, incremental changes rather than dramatic upheavals. You wander to a hill where the sun's reflection paints the valley in gold. The river glimmers like molten light, and birds drift lazily on thermals. You feel the calm passage of countless days and nights, realizing that each cycle is both unique and eternal, a quiet testament to the flow of life. As night descends, lanterns flicker across homes, casting gentle pools of warmth on the ground. You notice villagers settling into quiet routines, animals nestling in soft hay, and the river whispering beneath the moon's reflection. Even the smallest sound blends seamlessly into the valley's nightly rhythm. Finally, you lie back on soft grass, eyes tracing the stars. The valley exhales around you, and the cycle of power, life, and time continues softly. You breathe in harmony with the flow, feeling the weight of the day dissolve into the gentle cadence of existence. Now, in this quiet, lingering moment, you understand that empires rise and fall. Authorities come and go, yet the valley, the river, and the rhythm of life remain. Your eyelids grow heavy. The world slows to a hush. Every leaf, stone, and creature whispers the same truth. All flows, all returns, all endures.